I think more than hope, I'm just filled with the need to act. As a nation that contributes less than 0% of the global carbon emissions, we are in the front line and one of the most affected countries. My country is the resting grounds of my loved ones who have passed away. I need to ensure that their resting place still remains where it is. The Marshall Islands, we are located halfway between Hawaii and Australia, and at most our islands are 2 meters above sea level. And the Marshall Island faces, the sea level rises there about more than half of the global average, and that's 7 millimeters per year compared to the 3 millimeters that the entire world faces. Growing up, it was seeing the tides go higher above the seawalls and then rushing and washing the entire island, and the next day you see the soil has become salinated. Our crops have become brown and they're dying because of the salination, and the very little fresh water that we have also becomes salinated as well. So it becomes a water security, food security, home security, and it affects the very livelihood of all of our people. As a nation that contributes less than 0% of the global carbon emissions, we are in the front line and one of the most affected countries.
For me, it's really important that the Global South has a seat at the table because we are the ones who have been experiencing the climate crisis firsthand for years, and we have contributed the least to it. The climate crisis, especially in my country, India, is already on our doorstep and it's only going to get worse. It is important for us to be at the table, be a part of negotiations and be a part of climate discourse, because for me, I even have a problem with the word negotiations, because we cannot negotiate with our planet, and the Global South knows that. That's why it's really important to ensure that we're there and we're leading conversations and decision making.
Mr. Tony, Yakoyangan Kum Olive, greetings to you all. My name is Selina Leem, and I am a small island girl with big dreams from the island of Majuro in the Marshall Islands.
At COP21, I was 18 and the youngest delegate member at the conference, and I was asked by our government to be part of their delegation to shadow our then Foreign Minister, Tony DeRoom, who's a big climate champion. That was our government's way of ensuring that us as young people know how to navigate these spaces, because we are going to be the ones taking over these responsibilities, and already are, to be honest. For the frontline countries and the Pacific countries, we have been super vocal in the COP negotiations, and really the driving force between the 1.5 degree being added into the text back in Paris at the COP21, and also the Loss and Damage Fund. That was a collective action from all the frontline communities, because it is something that is really needed for us to be able to implement and carry out the actions that are needed to protect our countries from the effects of the climate crisis.
In India, we have like the whole range of climate calamities, unfortunately. For me, what gives me hope is my community that I work with. These are like ridiculously young people we have, and just joining the movement because they care so passionately about the environment. I work primarily with Fridays for Future back in India. Climate education is very important to us, because one thing about India is that climate education is not as accessible. It's limited to private institutions that most people don't have access to. So what we're doing is we've been working with researchers and professors to create a climate curriculum that's accessible and can be incorporated into the school systems, especially public schools.
So I write about the climate crisis and about the nuclear testing that was done in my country after World War II by the United States government. The reason why I turned to art is because it's a healing process for me as well. I'm headed back home in the Marshall Islands to be part of a youth event exhibition that's going to be focused on the nuclear testing legacy that we have in the country. And it'll be a lot of youth coming together to showcase their art, poetry, songs, art pieces, paintings. So I've been invited to go and speak on my experiences abroad and also perform my spoken word pieces.
Climate activism can be in so many forms. In media, it's often portrayed as people who are on the streets protesting, and while that is very, very important, that's not everything. So you can be an artist contributing your art to creating and raising awareness about the climate crisis. You can be a writer, you can be a baker baking like cookies for your teammates. It can be like you can be a tea maker, you can be a web developer, you can be so many things in the climate movement because there is a role for everybody in the movement. We need absolutely everyone to be doing something for our planet because this is our shared home. It is our collective responsibility to look after this home.
We need to understand that everything is interlinked and interconnected, and what you do over in your backyard affects my backyard all the way in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And to be able to have that climate education and make informed decision will make sure that we continue forth in a sustainable manner and in a way that is healthy and viable for Earth.